guys, welcome to another video. For today's subject, I picked some very unusual topic, and that is toxic friendships, toxic relationships. I got inspired by some of the talk that I had with my friends a few days ago, and some things really happened that really motivated me to make this video. So let's start. I would like to really talk about toxicity that is happening in people's lives through friendships, through relationships, and that toxic behavior really I believe that it's not the same for everyone, and that some people can really see something as toxic that for some other people it is not. And I think that's why it is so strange and so hard to see all the red flags when someone is talking about some relationship or something like that. It is really hard to see those red flags and things that maybe you should notice before but you somehow didn't. And that is usually happening because we tend to have very different picture of people around us than other people who maybe have objectively opinion and who can be more objective. And that's why we get into this insane circle of toxicity, and we keep toxic friends and toxic relationships in our lives. So I would like to make a separation relationships and friendships, and let's first talk about friendships. Toxic friendships are very real and they exist, and it is very hard to define what is a toxic friendship. Who is your toxic friend? What that toxic friend does? It's very hard to do. We can only define that through some examples, and as I already said, those examples can really be so much different, and they can be understood very differently. So something that someone finds very a huge red flag and very toxic and very mind-blowing in a way can for someone else be like, oh, that's normal, everyone goes through this, that's it. So we have to really discuss about these things, because it's not, as I said, toxicity is not the same for everyone. And in my opinion, toxic friendships are those who are very dynamic, who somehow have hidden things in a veil of a friendship, and that can be maybe jealousy behind it, or just very like you know when you have a friend who said some things or have done some things, but you know that it is not very good thing for you, that maybe this friend was just projecting her life and her past experiences onto you and wanted you to kind of have the same picture in your head. And also, I don't want to go to those like very extreme examples of like friends who are hiding secrets from you, friends who secretly hate you, friends who are willing to cheat on your partner with. Those things, I cannot just say that they are toxic. They are very sick and not very normal and not very rational. So I don't want to get into that. But really, toxic friendships can be those friendships who make your heart feel a bit different when you have this kind of sickness in your stomach when you have to go and meet your friends, when you had enough of their own conversations about some topics over again. So really toxic friendships can be defined very very hard, and it can be so many different examples of of how one toxic person behaves. But to me, one of the maybe worst case scenarios is that that friend pretends to be with you for, you know, when you have good and bad times, and then just one random day decides to basically leave you alone or ghost you or something like that. To me, that was really painful in my experience, and I unfortunately had to deal with that kind of toxicity in different friendships and with different people. Also, when it comes to toxic relationships, I think that we can concrete have things to say about them, that we can say that so many red flags that are before the relationship starts, and when you are in a relationship, it can be like we can come to some conclusions that it is toxic. One of the biggest toxicities for me is that playing mind games, you know, when someone is telling you one thing one day and another thing another day, and it's just making you stay in this circle where you don't really find a solution, you don't get to the solution. One day everything is fine, another day everything is a disaster. You have a lot of fights about many things, and on and on. Also, there are so many red flags that can be put in one relationship that we can talk about, and definitely like love bombing, that's very popular these days, and those kind of strategies can be also said that they are toxic. Also, those mind games like hot and cold, you know, when someone is being there for you, then disappearing, then one day is for you, then again disappearing, and things like that. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because some of my friends are going through this. In some situations I have been personally, and I know how much it is insane to get rid of that situation and to really move on from some toxic behavior that hurt you and hurt your mind and hurt your soul and your heart, and really made you think differently about life, about friendships, and in general relationships with other people. I think unfortunately people move away and move along with their lives and move away from those people, from those narratives that they were put in, and they decide to really find a solution for themselves. And very often it's not that simple. It's not very simple to run away from a situation that was very toxic for your mind and your brain, and it's hard to leave a person who was messing with you, with your thoughts, with your life, basically. And we can just say that we should really be careful about those things, and even if we are going to get into those situations where toxic people will just appear to us, and we have to find a solution how to deal with them and how to overcome different situations that are on our way and in our life. And sometimes even those toxic people do not know that they're behaving toxic, and it doesn't mean that they're bad people. Very often I think they're very injured inside themselves, and that's why they don't know how to behave differently and how to use their brain in a different way, because this is the only way that they knew, maybe from past experience, which can both be implemented into relationships and friendships. Past patterns are very hard to get rid of, and that's maybe why they project that into new friendships, new relationships, and things like that. So you definitely, if you have met toxic people this way, you are really in that circle where you cannot really run away, and it is hard to run away. It is hard to find a good solution. Oftentimes it is the best to just move away from those people, and as I said, move on with your life. But sometimes those people are very close to you, and you don't really want to cut off any connections with them, and that's even harder situation to deal with, because you don't really know what to do. You don't really know how to help them. Maybe sometimes they don't even need help. So it's a very, very unpleasant situation to be in, and I hope that if you have people like this in your life, that you will find a common thing to begin with, and to communicate the best way. You know what is good, what is bad, what should be changed and what shouldn't be changed, and that's way you can keep them in your life. But also, if that doesn't help, cutting off those people is the best solution, unfortunately. So this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you started thinking differently about this subject, and let me know in comments what do you think. Bye!